Well, welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about the area of a circle. Now, in our previous screencastify, we talked about the circumference of a circle. And we talked about how circumference of the circle was the distance around the circle. Well, today we're going to talk about something just a little different. We're going to talk, instead of about the distance around the circle, we're going to talk about the part of the circle that's inside the circle, right? Area is that amount of space inside the circle. That's what area is all about. Area is always talking about the inside part. Okay, if you talked about the area of a square, it would be like all of the area that's inside the square. So today we're going to talk about the area of a circle. So let me see if I can get rid of this stuff that I just put in there. There we go. Okay, so obviously, if we're going to talk about the area of a circle, we're going to start with the formula for area. So area of a circle equals pi. We already know that pi is equal to 3.14, right? Pi r, and we already talked about what r is, but we'll talk about it again in a second, and we're going to square that r. So, as we talked about before, diameter, we'll use just a solid color here. Diameter is that distance from one side of a circle to the other, going through the center point, right? And then we talked about radius, radius being that line that goes from the center point. Notice how that's not a very straight line. Yeah, I don't draw real well on my computer screen. It's that center, it goes from the center point to any point in the circle. So diameter is that distance across, and radius, ooh, I almost messed that up and almost put another D there. Okay, the radius is that line that goes from the center point to the outside edge. So we have diameter and we have radius. Not a very good picture, but I think you get my point. Okay, so let me go ahead and go inside here again and get rid of all of this since I didn't do a very good job with it. And then we'll redraw it. So here we go. We got the diameter of the circle going through the center point. We have the radius of a circle going from the center point to the outside edge. So we have diameter and we have radius. There we go. That looks a little better. Okay, so let's talk about how to find the area, or that inside part of the circle. Now, one of the things I want to make sure you totally understand is that we never use the pi button on the calculator. We always use 3.14 anytime we're talking about a circle. We want to make sure, because if you use a calculator and you use pi, as we all know, pi goes on and on and on. If you use more than 3.14, the answer you get, and the answer that's being expected, because we all use 3.14 when we make our keys and when we talk about circles and stuff. So if you use the pi button, you're going to get a slightly different answer than we are. And so you're going to end up getting sometimes marked wrong because you got a different number. So let's talk about a circle that has a diameter. So a diameter of 10 inches. You might notice that I like using 10 inches. It's a nice, easy number to use. I used it when we did circumference. Well, again, this formula doesn't use diameter. There's only one formula, and it uses radius. So always, 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 if you are given the diameter of a circle, always take a look and just figure out, hey, if the diameter is that, then the radius is half of that, right? So always, as soon as they give you a diameter of a circle, go ahead and figure out the radius. It's always a good thing to know. So now we have area equals 3.14 times the radius, and here we figured out that radius was 5 inches, so we're going to put that 5 in parentheses because I'm going to do something to it, right? I'm going to square it. Okay, so now I have area equals 3.14 times 5 squared. So now you were sitting there and you're going like, oh my goodness, that's some pretty hard math to do. So I'm going to show you in just a second how you can do that on a calculator. But just to help it out here just a little bit, we're going to go area equals 3.14. And we're going to take care of squaring that 5 because it's not a bad thing to remember what it means to be square. Okay, so when you square something, remember, you don't multiply it by 2. Right? When you square something, you multiply it by itself. So basically, 5 squared equals 5 times 5. So now that's pretty easy, right? That tells us that's 25. Okay, and now I also squared the inches, so it's inches squared. So I have 25 inches squared times 3.14. Now that's a little tough to do. So I'm going to come over here to my Desmos calculator, and I'm going to say, okay, if I have 3.14, right, times 25, it shows you that my answer is going to be 78.5. Right? So 78.5. So now I go back to my picture where I was doing all this fancy work, and I say area equals 78.5. And remember, this is inches squared, inches squared. Okay, so how is area different than circumference? Well, circumference is like perimeter. It's that outside edge, where area is actually that middle part. Remember, it's that middle part. It's that stuff that goes from all the way around the circle. It's all of this room that it takes up all the way around the circle. That's area. And area only has a single formula. The formula for area equals pi, 3.14, times the radius squared. And you have to remember the difference between diameter and radius. So this is a nice little introduction to area of a circle, but understand the only way you ever get good at these is to practice. So go ahead, go on to the IXL for the area of a circle. Make sure you get out a piece of paper and you're actually working them out. Okay, put them down, you use your calculator, but you know, it's really nice if you write them out and then use that calculator to find your answer. Anyway, you guys have a great day. Hopefully this will get you started on area. I do believe that there's another video that has both area and circumference in a little different way than the way we did it here. So if you want, take a look at that video if you want a little bit more explanation. But really, it's the practice that you're going to need. Anyway, have a great day, and I'll see you next time.